Hello and welcome everyone to today's Reaktor live session, where we'll talk about the merge mention success story and how you can take a mobile game promo to the Hollywood level. Just before we kick off, let's maybe do a little warm up and maybe type in the chat where you're tuning in from. I know that we are supposed to have quite an international bunch here today. So yeah, just type in the chat if you can hear us well and where you're tuning in from, and we'll get going. My name is Oles Datsko. I'm a demand gen lead here at the Reaktor, and we are a global technology consultancy that designs and builds some epic products and services. And with me here today, we have brilliant Jan Sederlöf, creative director at our creative branch, our creative studio. Yay. If you are one of those bold companies that thrives to become known and loved by harnessing the power of storytelling and using all the craziest blends of mediums, formats, and latest technology, basically, if you're like Metacore, whose case we're going to look into today, then Jan and Reaktor Creative are here to help you with that. Let's see in the comments. Yeah, we have people with Helsinki, our home base, Tervetuloa. Hello, Martin from Bulgaria. Helsinki again. Hello. I see that people are joining slowly, so perfect. Before I pass the mic to Jan, I just want to share some practical details. So first of all, I know that Jan has prepared a really cool presentation with a bunch of videos, and I'll do my best and try to keep up with it and roll the clips here from behind the scenes. If you can't stay for the whole presentation, no worries, we'll record it and share the recording with you hopefully tomorrow. But of course, it will be awesome if you could stick around and ask your questions and share your experiences and thoughts here in the chat. There's also this question tab on the right-hand side. So yeah, don't be shy. Feel free to share your thoughts here with us. We've reserved about like 15 minutes at the end for Q&As, and Jan promised to try and answer your questions after the presentation. So yeah, I think this is pretty much with the practicalities. I'll stop with my mumbling now and pass the mic over to you, Jan. The floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much, Oles. First of all, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, perfect. I can't see anyone. I'm essentially now staring at the presentation and into the void. So first of all, happy to know that there are people from Bulgaria and Helsinki and wherever. Thank you for joining. Before I start my presentation, I thought we could watch a video. So maybe, Oles, you can play that video and then we'll get going.
Yes, sir. Let's go.
Honestly, I don't even know where to start. On the surface, you've got this perfectly normal family. A young girl, her grandmother. You know, this is apple pie America.
When I first heard this story, I was like, there's no way.
Every family has secrets.
It's like everybody is hiding something.
There's no body, no smoking gun, just a lot of knives.
Every house has a story.
I've been on the force 40 years. I've never seen anything like this.
Everything points to Grandma.
After a while, you start to question everything.
There are secrets waiting to be unraveled.
What is Grandma hiding?
It's almost like some twisted game.
All right, so unlike Pedro over there, I do know where to start, and I'll start by introducing myself. I'm Jan Sederlöf. I'm a creative director for Reaktor Creative, and we're a creative studio inside a globally operating tech consultancy, Reaktor. But today I'm not here to talk about myself. I'm not here to talk about Reaktor. I'm here to talk about game branding and marketing, zeroing in on one game and one campaign in particular that we started working on a bit more than a year ago. And that case is Merge Mansion. Now, to get you up to speed on Merge Mansion, in case you're not familiar with it, it's a Merge to mobile game developed by Reaktor, which is a Finnish mobile game company. Now, in the span of 3 years, it has reached some 45 million plus downloads and over roughly 2 million daily active users, and maybe more importantly, a cult-like internet following. Now, behind this success is a compelling combination of merge puzzles, some home renovation, and gardening. And it's especially popular among so-called casual gamers, more specifically women 25 to 50. But the not-so-secret sauce that tops this all off is the game's storyline, which features family drama, a ton of knives, and a secretive Grandma Ursula, who you can see here. And the big question that drives the storyline forwards is, what's Grandma hiding? I have a feeling I know what you're thinking at this point. First of all, that's some seriously deep and dark backstory for a casual Merge 2 game with a bunch of rakes and gardening and stuff. And how the hell did you go from Grandma Ursula to Pedro Pascal, and why? And was it worth it? So for the next 20 to 30 minutes, I'll try to answer that question as I walk you through Merge Mansion's latest brand campaign. And hopefully by the end of it, you will be able to walk away with some inspiration, maybe a few learnings, and if nothing else, a few good laughs. Now, to really understand why we did what we did, we need to have a look at this graph. And this graph shows the projected growth of the gaming industry, which is estimated to be worth around 320 billion by 26. And as you can see, the lion's share of that growth is social/casual gaming, which is exactly the sector in which Merge Mansion operates. And in fact, the majority of mobile games operate. So we can make a conclusion that if you think competition is stiff now, it's about to get a whole lot stiffer. And if you factor in the recent developments in privacy regulations, meaning you can't target your target audience with pinpoint precision anymore, it's going to be increasingly difficult. We can raise a question. How will you reach your potential audience, and how will your game stand out? Here is a quote from Reaktor's CEO, Mika Tammenkoski. It's from a gamesindustry.biz article from a few months back. And it says, in order to reach key audiences, game companies should be putting more emphasis on narrative instead of just ad spend. Now, last year, a whopping 62 billion was spent on mobile game ads, and it's no surprise that a lion's share of that was UA. Now, Reaktor has taken a different approach and focused a lot on the narrative of Merge Mansion. And it has worked incredibly well, if you remember those 45 million plus downloads that I mentioned. So last year, when we started thinking about the next chapter of Merge Mansion's world domination, we naturally wanted to continue on that same track. So we decided to make the narrative, what we call the lore, famous, or I guess in this case, I should say we decided to make it even more famous. We wanted to break Grandma Ursula, her granddaughter Maddie, and the whole family drama-filled storyline into pop culture. And so we took the secret sauce of Merge Mansion, that narrative, and we gave it some extra spice. And we did that by tapping into true crime, which in recent years has become increasingly popular. Actually, so much so that now half of Americans say that they enjoy true crime content, and 1 in 3 say that they consume it at least once a week. And guess who are the most eager true crime fans? In other words, what is the biggest consumer group devouring shows about serial killers like Jeffrey Dahmer and listening to morbid podcasts describing gory details of murders? It's women 25 to 50. And I'm not making this up. So once we had landed on leveraging the true crime genre to make Merge Mansion's narrative famous, we needed to find an investigator, someone who had the credibility and the magnetism to capture both our audience's attention and imagination. And, well, I suppose you already know who we found. You saw the ad. We used this picture in the promo for this webinar because, frankly, we figured this he'd bring in more attendees than my old mug. But when we posted this picture on Merge Mansion's Instagram account, nobody had any clue that Pedro Pascal was about to be the star of Merge Mansion's new brand campaign. And so we posted this picture. We were feeling super clever about ourselves posting it and thinking that, now people are going to start wildly speculating who it is. And in reality, this happened. It took like 3.5 minutes for people to realize who it is. I'd know that ass anywhere. Personally, I wouldn't, but somebody on the internet did. And now, to be fair, this was at the peak of Pedro Pascal hype, and his ass was literally everywhere. We posted this picture on the week of the finale of The Last of Us, but we were still caught a bit off guard about how quickly people were able to figure out who he was. And of course, as mentioned, this picture was just a teaser. So on the next day, meaning the Friday before the finale of The Last of Us aired, we released the film that I just showed you a few minutes ago. And then on the day after the finale, meaning on Monday, we released this next film that Oles is now going to play for you guys.
I was finally in, but still couldn't put the pieces together. What am I missing? Crime scene? Weapon? Motive? What's Grandma hiding? To catch a grandma, you have to think like a grandma. Think. What would Grandma do?
All right, so what happened next? Well, this happened, and Oles, you can play the next video.
What's up, Greg? I was not expecting to make a video today, but I've been getting so many DMs about this situation that I had to stop what I was doing. I had to put down the very important things that I was doing to sit down and make an emergency video! This is an an emergency video, folks. Literally like 90% of my DMs have been about this for the past 2 days, so I had to come on here and let everybody know that Merge Mansion, the game whose ads I've made a few videos about, has gotten Pedro Pascal in an ad. I am making this video to let you all know that Pedro Pascal is in a Merge Mansion ad. Actually, he's in 2.
Actually, he's in 3. But when Danny Gonzalez, who is a YouTuber with over 6 million subscribers, made that actually 10-minute long reaction video, we had only released the 2 films. But there is a 3rd one. I'm not going to show that to you guys here because I still have a few slides that I need to truck on through. But if you want to see it, type in recipe to die for on your YouTube search field. But, you know, maybe do it after this presentation. So just like Donnie Gonzalez, after we released the videos, the internet went wild. So we got a tsunami of headlikes and headlines and likes and comments and reaction videos and TikToks. And of course, some nice fan art, which you can see there in the middle, which was actually super duper endearing to get stuff like that people literally did like within hours of seeing the video. And actually, some of that fan art was a bit too steamy to be shared.
This is my favorite. This is my favorite.
Exactly. Did you draw this? Anyway, it's a bit too steamy to be shared on the official Merge Mansion account. And by the way, I really want to highlight this comment there on the left-hand corner that says, the Merge Mansion marketing team deserve raises. It's always great when random people on the internet start saying that. And actually what 642 people agreed. So that has since become one of our key metrics whenever we do anything. Yeah. But there's a but. And the but is that actually those films, those 3 films that we did, they were just a precursor to what we did next. And what we did next is going to be explained in the next video. All right. Quick side note here. Should you be watching the recording of this webinar, we've actually decided not to show you the previous video because of rights reasons. So it has been taken down from the internet just because of the rights. But if you have joined us for the live session, then lucky you got to see it. Having said that, if you're a clever internet sleuth, you can still find it online, but I just can't point you to it. Anyways, so if you're asking yourself, so wait, did you guys really create like a replica of the mansion and you invited Merge Mansion fans, mystery solving experts and celebrity sleuths to find out what's grandma hiding for themselves? Then the short answer is yes. That's exactly what we did. So we did this brand activation, this opening up of the mansion on the same day that we opened up the mansion inside the game as well. You see, up until that point, players had not been able to access the mansion inside the game, and they had been waiting eagerly to get in. And by doing this brand activation on the same day that we opened up the game inside the mansion as well, we released this game update. We were able to build a clear tie into the game that, of course, allowed us to engage both new and existing fans. So this was a one-day event in LA, and I'm just gonna tell Oles that you can, if you're not already, play the video behind behind the screen. So anyways, this was a one-day event in LA. And I suppose the best way to describe it would be to call it something like an escape room on steroids that meets an ultra Instagrammable live action theater or museum. And I do realize that that's a mouthful. And what that mouthful means is that we had fans of the game and the lore, and we had YouTubers who were known for their mystery busting videos, and we had influencers who we knew that our target audience follows closely, and we had Pedro and a few other celebrity sleuths who we knew that the Preslofs come and experience firsthand what is inside the mansion. To give you an idea of the type of content that our guests created from that experience, I'll show you a clip from one of the content creators that we invited there. He's called MatPat. He's also known as Game Theorist. And he made a 20-minute video about his visit. And he really dug deep to uncover what Grandma is hiding. Now, this film that he made has now some 2 million views, and it's a pretty good video. It's pretty entertaining, but it's, as mentioned, it's 20 minutes long. So in case you don't feel like seeing the whole thing, I can reveal that his theory about what Grandma is hiding is that she has murdered her husband and chopped him up into a pie, which is pretty messed up. Having said that, I can't in any way, shape, or form neither confirm nor deny such allegations. Anyways, here is the clip for that video.
Well, 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 look who's returned into my inbox. And what do I have inside? A letter from Maddie Bolton. Solve the mystery. Who are you gonna call? Me.
A challenge. An invite to the mansion to get hands-on and search for clues to put the Grandma Ursula mystery to rest. But before I entered the garden gates, they also sent through plenty of pre-reading materials.
Look at this. We got like post-it notes like, what does Winston know? A rubber, I didn't even know that there was a rubber ducky involved in this. What's Grandma hiding? Trust the maid? There's a maid now? There's so much here!
Buried in all that paperwork was where I'd find the most shocking reveal to date.
She's 5'11"?
That's right. Grandma was a unit.
180 pounds? She could clock me!
Osteoporosis ain't got nothing on those bones.
I'm going to the mansion tonight, and I'm gonna solve this mystery once and for all. Ursula, Grandma Bolton, you're going down. MatPat's got a theory for you, and it's gonna be your last. Get ready! Let's go.
All right. There's one more video that I'm gonna show you. It's from a YouTuber called Shane Madej, and he made a pretty entertaining video as well, I thought.
Curious. What's she hiding? That's my question.
How many years have we been on the force?
Well, technically we're not on the force.
Grandma! What is Grandma hiding?
What are you hiding, Grandma?
Why did you do it? What do you think, Detective Madej?
Something happened here.
Okay, that's the vaguest thing you could possibly say. I bet you one of these books opens up this bookcase for a secret door. Open sesame. Detective Brain.
This is a clue.
You sneaky son of a gun.
The fireplace. What the heck?
Wow. Oh my god. This is wrong.
All right. And then after all this, what was the press headline? Kotaku, one of the biggest gaming blogs on the web, wrote, Pedro Pascal has no right to look this good at a damn game event. Now, of course, this was just one of the many press hits that we got. But I took it here, first of all, because I thought it was funny, but also because it goes to show you that the at the end of the day, you are not 100% control of the narrative. But so what? At this point of the presentation, I suppose it's quite easy to go, that's great, Jan. You got a Hollywood celeb to star in your campaign, but I don't have those kind of budgets. And that's a very fair and valid question. And what can we learn from this, if anything? So I thought, because every self-respecting keynote needs a 3-point list, I've made 3 key takeaways from this presentation. So yeah, let's crack into it. Here we go. Number 1, it's not about brand versus performance marketing. It's a question of brand and performance marketing, and getting those two to work together. Performance supports brand, and vice versa. And again, I'm quoting Mika Tammenkoski from Metacore here, and he has said that going forward, game studios that can crack the code on creatives that resonate with a broad audience will prove that UA isn't dead. It just demands a new mindset. Also, the point of our campaign wasn't just about getting downloads through the roof. It was about playing the long game. It was about creating something that people will talk about and think, oh, a mobile game is doing something like that. And we wanted to build something that feels bigger than just a mobile game or an app. We wanted to create something that feels more like something that an entertainment brand would do. Yeah, if by the way somebody says to you that you shouldn't be making ads that are longer than 3.5 seconds or whatever the rate is nowadays, don't believe them. The film you saw in the beginning has been watched all the way to the end by 90% of people who've seen it. And the film about opening up the mansion in LA, which was nearly 2 minutes long, performed exceptionally well as well. All right. Learning number 2. If it doesn't scare you at all, you are doing something wrong. And this is something that I believe wholeheartedly in. The competition is going to get tough. And that means that as a brand, you need to make bold moves in order to stand out. You need to take calculated risks. Because if you're playing it safe and doing things the way you and frankly everyone else has been doing them, you're probably not going to create something that people will get super excited about. And at the end of the day, you got to remember that mobile games, they're not just competing against other mobile games, they're actually competing against everything else on your phone, be it TikTok or just, in my case, infinite doom scrolling. Yeah. And then, as promised, I got 3 key takeaways, so we're getting ready to hit the last one. And the last key takeaway is that if you get a chance to work with Pedro Pascal, go for it. He is a super nice dude. And of course, I'm joking. Seriously, the point of this presentation isn't to say that you need to get a Hollywood spokesperson. If you can, great. But really, it's not about celebs. It's about creativity. It's about focusing on what makes you unique instead of aiming to look like everyone else. And it's taking that thing and it's turbocharging it and leveraging it to the max. And in our case, it was the lore. So actually, had we not gotten Pedro Pascal to come aboard and believe in this idea, and believe me when I say that it was definitely not a sure shot, we would have actually done the campaign without him, with an actor who is not a celebrity, because that's how much we believed in the power of the narrative. And actually, somewhere on the hard drive of Bacon Films, which is the production company that shot the Pedro films, there is also a version where we have that non-celebrity actor playing the exact role. And that was just something we did as a backup if we would have had issues rolling out the Pedro material for one reason or another. So just to prove that we sort of, it was not about Pedro, it was about the story and the narrative. But, of course, we're super happy that we got the Mandalorian to come aboard. It was an amazing experience. Yeah. And number 4, I lied. I have a fourth key learning, and I feel that it's the most important one. And that is, to catch a grandma, you have to think like a grandma, which is by far my favorite line of all the films. Yeah. And that's pretty much the gist of it. First of all, thank you very much to each and every one of you who joined. And before taking any questions, I also need to extend a thank you and a shout out to all our partners who helped us make this campaign a reality. So that means Bacon Films and the director Martin Werner, who I already mentioned, created the Pedro films. It means Jack Morton, who created the amazing mansion experience in LA, Unit 9 for capturing it, and their director Hall Kirkland, as well as RNCPMK for their PR and talent management. Yeah. And now I guess it's question time. And before we get into that, I'll just mention that, when it comes to budgets, KPIs, business secrets, stuff of that nature, my hands are sort of tied. I'm actually standing on a box of TNT, and somebody over at Metacore is holding the detonator. So please, no hardball, but I'll do my best to answer whatever questions you might have.
You won't believe, Jan, but guess what? What questions I have for you? Yeah, but
I can imagine.
Jokes aside, we have, guys, we have like 15 minutes, so don't be shy. Drop the questions here in the question tab, and I've got already a couple of those to ask Jan. So first one was from Maddie, and the question is, how do you actually contact someone of this popularity through some agency? So I'm presuming this is like, how do you how do you contact Pedro Pascal? Do you have his number or his WhatsApp?
I wish I could say that I do, that he's literally just a phone call away, but that's not exactly how it works nowadays. I do think our director has his number, though. How do you go about it? Well, they have agents, and you can get in touch with their agents. It helps if you have a talent agency in between who is used to operating with this level of celebrity, because obviously it's, if you would just call the agent and send a script and ask how much is it going to cost, you're not going to get a good answer. So it's good to get some help to actually help you in doing that. Then, well, it's not going to be a surprise to anybody, but that you do need to be willing to invest quite a bit. The way we see it, it's still a very good investment considering the return on it that we got. And then you need to have a good idea, because when we started discussions with Pedro, it wasn't about the money. It was more about the idea. He was super interested in going through the scripts and talking with the director and making sure that what we were creating is something that he felt comfortable being a part of. So we did discuss a lot about what are the films going to be like, what types of references, were we thinking about when we started making these. So a big part of it is that you need to have not just the money, but you need to have also the talent, sort of not just in front of the camera, but behind the camera as well.
100%. Next question from Johanna, and it kind of twofold question. So the second part, I think you might need to be evasive of, but let's see what you can answer. How long did the interactive mansion project took from ideation to execution and promo, and what was the budget, if not a secret? But as we mentioned, budget probably is a secret, but can you open up on just the time frame of the whole? I guess here is the focus on the physical mansion thing.
Yeah. So I think when we first started discussions with the client about the overall idea, it was around May last year. And then once we landed on actually building the mansion, we had a few iterations of how we would go about it. I think it took from May to we had that opening in March. And the planning phase, well, first from May, we then also had a good period from the summer when we started looking for production partners for that brand activity and landed on working with Jack Morton, which took a few months. And then the planning phase took, I'd gander to say, somewhere till the end of the year. And then the actual planning of the building took, again, a few months. And the actual building itself was maybe 2 weeks. So it was a pretty sizable investment time-wise, and it did include quite a lot of back and forth between time zones because, as mentioned, we're here, they're in LA.
Yeah.
So it meant a lot of all-nighters, but luckily they paid off. And as far as for the budget, and this goes for the whole thing, of course, it's a sizable budget, but if you compare it with the amount of money that gaming companies are putting in just media buys for performance marketing, it's pretty manageable.
Yeah,
I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I think I have a question from Martin here in the chat that was kind of linked to the budget. He asks, would you say that if you're working on a limited budget, does it make sense to focus on a local market instead of world-wide based on the results? Would you say that such a campaign helped more with engaging better the existing audience, reactivating lapsed players, or getting brand new ones?
I think it's a bit of all wrapped into everything. Of course, when you do something like this, which is pretty visible in terms of PR and pop culture, it's going to bring in a lot of new eyeballs, and it's going to also activate a lot of the sort of relapsed players. And also because we did have we were able to provide them with something new, which was the opening up of the mansion. So it wasn't just about, start playing the game that you always played. It was like, hey, we have something new, come experiencing it. And as for whether you should do it local or global, I would imagine it's mostly about what your target market is. I think you can create things that resonate on a global level if you have a good enough idea. And I think they can travel through culture. I mean, if you look at what Metacore has done before with 3D ads, with Grandma Ursula and Maddie, it's not like they've only resonated in the US. It's been a pretty global thing. So maybe that's the point of view that I would take.
Awesome. I have actually a question linked to this from Barbara, and she asks, I was set to no longer see Kathy Bates as Grandma. What was the idea of changing an actor previously shown in a role?
First of all, apologies for not having a Kathy Bates. Hopefully we were able to fill in a little with Pedro. It was more about doing something new and exciting. The idea with Merge Mansion and Metacore was never to sort of replicate things or try to create a series where you would have Kathy Bates as Grandma Ursula until eternity. So it just felt more fresh and interesting. And frankly, had we had Kathy Bates also in production to portray Grandma Ursula, that would have been logistically and production wise, that would have been a very difficult feat.
That's
to
like
pull off
Hollywood movie, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Although I have to say, this is, if you go look at the comments, a lot, not maybe a majority, but a lot of them are about how Metacore and Merge Mansion should be turned into a series or a movie. And people have actually been tagging HBO Max and Netflix, you guys need to pick up on this. This is awesome. We need a full series. So
any insights or gossip or rumors if something like that is brewing there behind the scenes?
My lips are sealed, and I haven't got the faintest clue.
Stay tuned, guys. Okay. This one I really like because I can relate. From Jarko, he asked, how important do you think is to also make the game be aligned with the narrative in the ads? And why I say I relate, because I get also spammed with ads, really silly ads that just something completely different from the actual game, and it's really people just get annoyed with this. But I'm sure this is a completely different approach that you took. So what do you think about it?
Yeah, and to be fair, it's a very fair question. It's an approach that Metacore has taken pretty much from the get-go, and as mentioned, it has worked well. And it's going into the live action world from the 3D ads, which were already pretty lore filled. It's maybe just taking that a step further. I understand that, if you feel the ad should be only about showing the merging of things, then I suppose, everyone is entitled to that opinion, but I still think that by doing something that's still relevant to the game, because the game does have that storyline, you just need to play it a bit to get into it. Does the game have Pedro Pascal? No, at least not at this point. But it's marketing. It's advertising. You need to do some magic dust.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think this actually ties perfectly that the game is so simple in itself. How do you even promote it? If you want to engage the audience, just you wouldn't show just rakes and I don't know, just 2D setup there. The narrative is the key and the central focal point there.
Yeah, exactly. And there is one TikTok that that isn't included in this presentation, where there is this this person, a girl saying that, I went in for Pedro Pascal, but I stayed for the gameplay because I just enjoyed it that much. So, it was something to get you interested, and then hopefully the product is going to be good enough for you to actually enjoy it.
I love it. And it actually ties in with the next question from Miriam, which I kind of feel like you, again, won't be able to answer properly. But she asks about the retention rates. That says the branding has been great for Metacore, but do you have any idea on the retention numbers? Did players come in, test the game and leave, or actually stayed and engaged in the game? So I guess this TikTok could be one of the answers, that people actually stayed for the game, but I don't know if you have or can reveal any numbers.
At least this one person did. I am not sitting on that pile of data, so it's the people of Metacore. Obviously, we have an understanding of if the campaign performed well, which it did, but like the exact metrics and KPIs and all that data, that doesn't live with us. It lives with Metacore.
Yeah. But I think that was the last question for today, unless any last minute show-ups here in the chat. But on that, I want to thank you, Jan, and thank everyone who joined us today. As I mentioned, the recording will be we'll send it to you tomorrow, because we need to edit some of those that video that Jan mentioned. So stay tuned. And go check Reaktor. Our website is on the screen, and sign up for newsletters to stay tuned and join our future sessions. Hope you have a great day. Peace.
Thank you, everyone.